The Horror Review. The Boogens. Just the facts. The Boogens is the name of an American horror film that was released in the United States on the 25th of September 1981. The film was written by David O'Malley and Jim Koof, the latter under the pseudonym of Bob Hunt, and directed by James L. Conway, a prolific director, writer and producer of film and television whose credits include Star Trek: The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, Smallville, Hangar 18 and Matt Houston. The film's score was composed by Bob Summers. Plot. A mining company blasts open an old mine left disused and sealed up for decades after a deadly cave-in, only for two of the young miners and their girlfriends to become the targets of something that was best left buried. Cast. The film stars Rebecca Balding in the lead role of Trish Michaels. Balding appeared in the 1979 horror film The Silent Scream, and has also appeared in a number of television series including Making It and Seventh Heaven, though is perhaps most famous for her recurring roles on Charmed and on the late 70s and early 80s classic comedy series Soap. The film also stars Fred MacGarren, best known for his roles on Amanda's and Hill Street Blues, and retired Canadian actress and writer Anne-Marie Martin, whose most famous role was as Sergeant Dora in the mid-80s comedy series Sledgehammer, but who horror fans will also remember from appearances in films such as Prom Night and Savage Harvest. The film also features actor John Crawford, perhaps best known as the mayor in the 1976 Dirty Harry movie The Enforcer. Trivia. The film received a late VHS release by Lionsgate in 1998, with a DVD release similarly belated in 2012 by Olive Films, which also simultaneously released the film on Blu-ray. Rebecca Balding is actually married to James L. Conway, and the two met for the first time on the film. Reaction. The film did little at the box office, though it did only receive a limited release, and gained a mixed reception from critics. Some critics panned the film as a mediocre horror film, but one fan of the film was internationally famous horror author Stephen King, who called it a wildly energetic monster movie. Because of its limited release and widespread unavailability on home media for many years, the film is fairly obscure, but over the years has generated a cult following. What I think. This rather obscure early 80s horror flick turned out to be much better than I was expecting. The only cast member I recognized was Rebecca Balding, mainly because of my love for soap, of course, but all of the actors were solid and engaging and the characters likable. The film is also well made with a nice winter, snowy setting, which always adds to atmosphere, and while the film is a slow burn it kept me interested and intrigued through to an exciting ending. The monsters are wisely kept off-screen till the end, being a bit silly looking, but you know that's not going to bother an old classic Doctor Who fan like me, and they are certainly ferocious enough to be a threat, and the deaths actually have impact because you actually like the characters. I rather liked this, an unexpected pleasure, and I give it a strong B+.